Happy Monday. I already double checked. My mic's on. I know it's on. Um, yeah. How you guys doing? It's Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I guess now. Do I have enough light? So I think I have enough light. Uh, yeah. We're just gonna jump right into it. Right? Okay. So what we're doing is we're building an alt text generator, and where we've gotten to with this is we have an API that's sort of kind of working. Disable readline. Yeah, okay. We're just gonna get into it, man. We're just gonna start hammering away. I need to make my lunch break exactly what it needs to be today. So let's see, mvim. You guys like this? This is my new. This is a plugin called Dashboard. I think it's called Dashboard. I found this last night. Dashboard.mvim. And it basically lets you create these like really cool looking I guess landing pages for NeoVim, for lack of a better word, dashboard for NeoVim. So you can have like quick actions and like a nice cool header there. I took most of my config. So I took most of the configuration for this part from a Reddit post. And then this header, which I love, because no one does care, work harder. I got this by going to, I just did a Google search for ASCII NeoVim art generator. And I found this thing. Found this website. So basically you just go in here, type what you want. And then once you have that in there, you can change the font, and you can also change some of the character settings. I used AMC Shadow is the one I used, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So, and then I just spaced it. I just kind of like centered it as best I could using spaces like that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. But we're not here today to talk about more NeoVim stuff. We're here to put in some work on our alt generator. So where we left off was we basically are here where we have our endpoint. We implemented validation logic. We've basically done all of this, or not all of it. We've basically done this part. So we have a factory that's our alt text provider factory. Based on the provider that's in the request, we will based on the provider that's in the request, right? So the idea here is we're going to support more than one LLM provider, but for now it's just Gemini. But based on that provider that's selected as part of the request, we're going to create a provider based on that. That provider is going to implement this generate alt text async method. That is going to get the provider's API key, and then it's also going to get the image that was sent, or the stream of the file that was sent. And so this is where we're at. We actually need to now implement this provider alt text async method, and we're going to implement it for our first provider, which is going to be Gemini. So we need to go down here and actually do some stuff. So I think instead of writing a unit test, I think I'm just going to keep moving forward with the integration test I have. So I am going to write unit tests, but in the sake of making this interesting for today's stream, I'm just going to come over here to my existing integration test. And so this integration test basically represents the sad paths. And in this integration test, sorry about that. This integration test basically represents my happy path. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm making sure that I can post something to that. All I'm doing is I'm making sure that I can post some content to that endpoint and get a successful response. But I also need to make sure that I'm getting, I guess, the response that I would expect, right? So in this case, I want to make sure and get var alt text. And in this case, I'm going to say await response, but I want to read as JSON. And I want to read as, let's just call this alt text response for now, for lack of a better. And we'll go back to our program and we'll generate a new record. Record is going to be alt text response, which is going to be a string of alt text, just like that. And then up here, we will say new alt text. What's it complaining about? Oh, we need to await that method up here. Wait that out. And then for now, we're just returning this Gemini alt text. So my test should pass. If I go back to my, go back here, and what is this complaining about? Read as JSON async. Read from JSON async. Gotta get your method names right, you know? This is an important thing. And then we'll say alt text should not be null and it should not be white space. Write that out. Actually write all out, and then space tr. I know at the rate of becoming a shill for this company, you should check out this protein. It's called, well, not the I mean, the brand is good. Premier Protein, it's a good brand, but specifically this flavor. You see that? This flavor, cafe latte. So good, so good, so good. If you like protein, if you like coffee, you should check it out. Okay, so my test passed, right? That's good. So now what we want to do is we actually want to make a request to Gemini. So, one sec, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry about that. I got a call from my brother. Sounds like they're looking at a new vehicle, which is exciting. Um, it's actually kind of like very similar vehicle to what we have. So they were just calling to get our thoughts on it, how we've enjoyed our vehicle. So yeah. Anyways, okay, where was I? I was at this point where we need to actually talk to Gemini, and I've never actually made requests against Gemini's API, so this is all new to me. So it's going to be a little bit of research. But if I could walk away from lunch today with one thing, I would have liked to just at least be able to post a file over there, right? So let's do our research here. Let's see, Gemini API text generation. These are the docs. What about API reference? And I want to do generating content. Yeah. So generate content, I think, is what we want to call. And I don't think they have a C# SDK. So we're just going to have to do our own thing, which is fine. We don't need to implement a whole SDK. We only need a few bits of this. Let's see. They have shell examples. We'll make this a little bigger. So this is basically what we need to do. Specify our model that we want to use. Specify our key. And then instead of it being text, we're going to have some text. Actually, we're not going to have some text. We're going to have a system instruction. That's our alt text prompt. And then we are going to have some content. And I'm guessing this can be more than just text. So let's open this guy up. So content, it has a role. The producer of the content must be either user or model. So it'll be user. And then parts. So we're going to have an array of parts. And I think we're going to do inline data. Inline data is, I think, what we're going to do. A blob, yeah. So inline data is a blob, and that blob is going to be the type, the meme type, and then the actual bytes. A base 64 encoded string. Let's see if they have an example of this somewhere. Let's see. This is caching. I don't want caching. I want generate content. And I want vision. What's vision? Yeah, vision. What is... So this validation probably needs to be specific to the provider. So up here, no, we're down here. But this actually probably needs to be, needs to be specific to the provider. Different LLMs support different image formats. Probably even the mod. It probably actually is probably even more specific to. I'll bet if we limited people to just JPEG and PNG, that would cover the majority of use cases. So let's scope down. Let's just say not. This is my preference, right? Like when you're first building something, is just to scope it down. Because you can always come back and add functionality. But to try to not get too bogged down in the weeds, right? To try to limit the scope. So this needs to be... We don't need this one anymore. And we don't need these. We don't need this one either. So we're just going to support JPEG and JPEG. Okay. Go back to program.cs. Okay, so what do we need in here? So let's start with just defining some constants. So constant string is going to be base URI, like that. I actually don't know if Copilot was right on that. B1 beta models. Okay. Then what else do we need? We need some other constants here that we need, like method. And this is probably going to get refactored out, but for now, for what I need. So we have our base URI. And model, which we'll just use this because we're not going to let people pick the model, at least at this stage of the game. So let's just put that in there. String LLM we call this model ID. Okay. Cool. Oh, and then I was trying to see if they have an example, right? That's what we were looking for next. Vision. I'm guessing this is like an example document. Basically, our request needs to look like this. Our base 64. we're going to need a method here in our this probably needs to live at an abstract class, but for now this will be fine. So we'll say static string, no, not string, yeah, string, convert to base 64. What's it complaining about? Oh, it doesn't need, I don't need to declare private because it, whoops, no. That's the default. So we're gonna convert it to base 64. What else do we need to do? We need to build the URI. So static string get request URI, and that's not right though. It actually looks like this. It actually looks like this. So it's v1, it's base URI, method, v1 beta. Method, and it's not // it's actually model ID method, like that. And then it's not provider key. Let's see. Const string API key. API key query. What do I want to call that? API key query key. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? That is just horribly named. That's API key query key. Yeah, that's I mean, naming things is hard. It's very, very hard. Yeah. So that should give us the right URI. And then what we should be able to do here now is we should be able to say var request URI, because that key is coming from our calling. The person calling this method is going to give us the key, which is why we need to build the request URI dynamically, because that key is going to be dynamic. And then we also need to convert the base 64. And then we need to also have a prompt. So for the moment, I'm gonna write this here, but this is actually I'm gonna put this into a, I'm gonna put this in a text file, and then it'll be a resource file that I embed in the project. But for now, I'm just gonna have a prompt. Please generate a description for this image that I can use. That's all text. I guess I don't need this to actually be. So now we just need to build a request that looks very similar to what they have here. So let me... I find it easier to work if I can see like the example or to translate it to what it needs to be in this language. So I usually will copy the example, I'll paste it in here, and then let's see, I'll just highlight all this. And I think if I type GC, it'll comment that out. And now what I can do is I can just kind of reference that, right? So, and Copilot actually can probably, I bet Copilot can figure this out, what I want to do. If I sit it here. Var request. Yep, see, look. And right now, this is just an anonymous object. Probably don't want that. New object. I think that looks right. This is assuming though the meme type, and I don't want to assume the meme type. I want to know the meme type. Mime type. I don't know. So can I get that from the stream? Image dot. I don't think I can I? I can get the length, but I can't get the type. So that's going to need to be passed into the method. Yeah, I'm going to change this to be string type down here. And then this is going to complain because this signature has changed. This needs to be string mem type. I don't know how do you say that. Meme type? Is it meme type or mem type? Mem type. I guess mem type probably makes them. Meme is like MEM. Like I posted a meme, which is MEM. So it's probably mem type is probably the right way to say it. I don't know. You tell me what's the right way to say it. I don't know. Generate alt text async now needs the meme type, which I think we can get from file dot request dot file dot content type. It's content type is the same thing as. I honestly don't know if that's a safe assumption. Content type is mem type. Content type is an alias for mem type. Okay, that's what I thought, but always good to be safe. That line was getting a little long for me, so I'm going to wrap it. Yes, I do put my open close brackets on separate lines. I know a lot of C# devs will do this. I don't like that. Or like they'll align all their, like they'll also do this. I've seen this. People will do this. Like they'll align their parameters this way. We'll do something like that. Which I guess if I had to pick, I probably prefer this than the other way. But my personal preference is to write it kind of like JavaScript, which is kind of the way you write. You know, most people write their JavaScript is like this. That's my personal preference. There's no right or wrong way. There's just, you know, there's the way you prefer, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people out there screaming right now, being like, "No, there is a right way." And to them, I say, "Come at me, bro. Come at me." Okay, what do you think? You think we're ready to try to make our first request over there? I think we are. So let's come down here. And I bet Copilot can figure this out. Response equals, oh, we don't have a client. We need an HTTP client. So there's a couple different ways you can do HTTP clients in .NET, right? But the way that I understand is the preferred is to say builder.services. Let's actually add this down here. Builder.services.add HTTP client. And so what this does is it adds the HTTP client factory. And what that should do is the HTTP client factory should handle newing up and managing the HTTP clients for us. So we don't have to manage their lifetimes. But what we do have to do is we do need to add a new, we need to add a constructor, public Gemini alt text provider. It's going to have an HTTP client. And we're going to need a field to hold that. And we need to actually name this properly. This wants us to use a primary constructor, which is fine. Or post it over there. We can say if. Oh man, Copilot got that wrong. I think this is actually dot is. Oh, I need to wait. That's why. Copilot did not get that wrong. I got it wrong. Sorry, Copilot. Please don't take my job. That doesn't like the exception we're throwing. Well, I don't know. What's a good exception for this? HTTP exception? I don't know. So this response is going to be what? Oh, I don't know what that response actually looks like, do I? Yeah, post as JSON, and then can we give this a type? I think we can give this a type. Which means this is now going to be dynamic, right? No, the content's going to be no, I think that type refers to what you're posting. I think what I want to do is I want to say bar content equals not alt text response. I want to read it dynamic. Then I want to say content. Oops. And I'll translate this all into strongly typed things. let's see, if we need to see what that's actually expected to look like. What's the response actually supposed to look like? Yeah, let's see. Request body. Where's my response body? Response body is an instance of generate content response. So candidates. And content. And then a part. Man, this is a deeply nested structure. Okay, let's just why don't we just start with reading this as a string? And that'll at least let us visualize what it looks like. Okay. This thing's going to keep complaining about exception, so I'm just going to define a class, which is going to be called alt-gen exception. That's just going to be like a base exception class for my app. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to set a breakpoint here. I want to actually see this work. Actually, I want to set a breakpoint. It's not there. Put it up here. Then we're going to go to our code, or not our code, our test project. And we need to actually not give it this. We actually need to give it an actual image file. So I'm going to make a new directory here called, what do you think I should call this? Like data or files or test files? I don't know. I'll call it files for now. Oops. And let's come up with a picture to send it. So we're gonna send it this. I don't want anything too big. Yeah, this will work. So we're gonna send it this. We're gonna use this as our test image. See what it does. Let me copy this to our project. Creation, files, paste, and then you know what? They don't explicitly say this, but I'm guessing that Gemini can probably handle JPEG or JPG. Let's see if the internet knows that question. Gemini, JPEG JPG and JPG. I mean, we'll only ever know if we try. The reason why I say that is because this is a JPEG. The test file, it's a JPG file, and so I need to basically go back to program.cs. I need to change our validation, otherwise it's going to fail. I don't want it to fail. If extension is not JPEG and not .jpg, we're doing pretty good. I think we're going to get one request maybe before I have to wrap for the day. We need a method here to read in our test file. So static get test file, and yeah, but it needs to be a little bit more complicated than that. It needs to be static static task file string get test image. We're gonna say var file image path. Going to be path, and it's not going to be get directory. It's going to be that context base directory, and then it's going to be integration. No, I think it'll just it should just be this. It won't be nested. JPEG. And we'll read it. Our stream. We will. I wonder if we can we read the, let's see, file dot read all bytes async. We could probably do read all bytes async. So instead of a file stream, we could just do eight. File dot read all bytes async. Image down here. Private file. Oh no, because that's But I can do it in this method call, can't I? Yeah, I can do it in this method call. Let's say test image. Oh, but that's not it's not asynchronous. How would I do that? Well, we can make this synchronous, couldn't we? We could just, yeah, we could just make this a synchronous call and not await it. Which may not be optimal, but we're just trying to get something working at the moment. All bytes. Then we can say var. We don't want invalid, we want valid, don't we? Yeah, let's go valid. So valid, we'll say var image. Oh, yeah, do the same thing down here. This is actually going to be library. It should probably be a constant. Test name. We can do a search and replace, can't we? So percent, whoops. See, percent s / library.jpg. Oh, we don't want to replace everything though. And I don't know how to do that. The end, delete, and then I guess this would be one of the benefits of using a file stream, right? Is because I could probably get the file name from the file along with the content. You know, like I said, we're just trying to get something working. Let's file name. Okay, so now that we have that and we have our code in our program.cs, right? We have code over here. So we're going to actually make our request and we'll throw an exception if something happens. Do we have a breakpoint set? Set a breakpoint. We have our client. We've registered everything. Yeah, I think this will work. Okay, so let's go back to our test file. Generate endpoint tests. And let's try to run this guy. So we're going to debug it though first. So space td. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, you know what? Not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Oh, what does it say? Create file. Could not find. Oh. So I need to make sure. And group. I have that test file, but I need to make sure and copy that test file to my output directory. So to do that, I think it's, is it copy? That it? I don't think that's it. I think Copilot got that wrong. Copy to output dir C yes. I have to look this up every time I do it. Like this. What I want to copy is I want to copy integration files, just basically everything underneath there. Because right now, if you go to the bin, right, of my tests, there'll be no library file here. But now I think if I actually write everything out, I go back to, this is gonna fail. I know this is gonna fail because I need to give it my API key. So I'm gonna have to pass my API key in somehow. Still didn't find it. So what have I done wrong? Okay, maybe I didn't do the CS Proj thing right. Yeah, that's what I have, don't I? Include. I wonder if my path is just wrong. Integration, files, copy to output directory always. Let me try to build it. Maybe that's maybe. I don't know. It should be building when it runs my tests. First, alt-gen test, bin, debug net 9. It's oh. So it's there, but it's in that, like, I mean, so it's in that same hierarchy that it's in, which I don't want. I just want it to be at the top level, which I think is where, instead of include, I want update, I think. But I don't, but I want to be able to add additional test files and not have to specify an exact path. So I think I'll leave it how it is, and I think I will change my method. And this method probably at some point could get pulled out into a separate thing. So this is going to be integration. Just like that. Now, Again, space T D. So hopefully this time it can actually read the file, which it looks like maybe it did. Okay, and then it made a response, and the response is, what's the status code? Bad request. Yeah, bad request. I don't know what the content says, but I'm guessing it says something about a bad API key. Okay, what time is it? 1:44. Okay, I don't have enough time to probably work through this, but let's just see what that bad request is for, right? So we'll say bar content, then we'll remove this, and we'll just stop debugging. Write everything out. Back to our tests. We'll run this again. But this time we should be able to see what that content is. I'm hoping it says something about like an invalid key or something. I'm hoping it says. Error, API key not valid. Please pass a valid API key. Cool. So yeah, so the reason for that is just continue. So the reason for that is if we go, so when we build our URI, right, we have to provide it our key, which is coming from our provider key. Now in my test though, my test here, it's just a fake key, right? This is the key that I'm providing, provider key, and so I'm gonna have to change that. And I don't want that to be something that's in my test file, right? Because actually, what I should probably do, here's what I probably should do, is I should probably have an integration test set up to where the Gemini service is mocked so that I can verify that everything works functionally, and I just mock out that HTTP request to Gemini. Then I should probably have an end-to-end test that actually makes a call, and that way I can have multiple happy path scenarios. Yeah, that way I can have multiple happy path scenarios, but not be concerned with making a bunch of requests to Gemini, and then have like one end-to-end test that makes a live request. Well, in any event, we made a lot of progress today. We got to where I wanted to get to, which was making a live request to Gemini. So we're not far away from just having this thing done end to end, being able to supply a file, and be off to the races. And then we can move on to the client code. And I think for that, we'll just start with the console app and go from there. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress we made today. I'm sorry I don't have more time to spend on it. I've got an hour is all I can spend today on this before I hop off. So if you came to watch, I appreciate it. If you're seeing this after the fact, if you're seeing this on my YouTube channel, thanks for popping in and seeing what I've been working on. This is just I understand some people might think, well, this is a silly project. Like, can't you just use the ChatGPT or the Gemini app to do this for you? And 100% you could. But I just thought this sounded like a cool, small project that would let me get more time with fingers on the keyboard. It would let me get practice working in Vim on something or working in NeoVim on something which I need, and yeah, I just thought it would be interesting. So if you don't find it interesting, I understand, no big deal, but it scratches an itch for me. All right, hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday. I'll see you next time.